Well, earlier today I watched a video. The lady's name was Autumn something Gardens. I can't remember the name. Excuse me for not remembering. But it had to do with some events that could happen in the United States concerning our financial system. And they're talking about FEMA and stuff. It's something, this was back, let me see, many people wouldn't remember. When I was passing this stuff out, making copies of it, I passed, it must have been 2,000-3,000 people I sent this to, or handed it to. Some I even left in restrooms and laundromats. Anything to get the word out. Not many listened. They probably threw all the paperwork away. But they're on Zoom. It's just a minute. National emergency. You will not like FEMA. I mean, you don't like him anyway, but I don't know how much of this stuff I can get through because I only got like 15 minutes. Some of these people, they can go on and on for hours. Executive orders are laws established by the United States presidents. These laws are not passed by the House or the Senate and create an end run around our Constitution. These laws begin as an executive order, which is simply printed in the Federal Register. After 30 days, these orders become law, carry the full impact of any law passed by the United States Congress. These laws are unconstitutional because the Constitution does not afford any person the right to create laws by himself that negates the Constitution. To understand just how this could come about, you need to open up your eyes and your heart and your mind. What we've discovered is very scary, very unconstitutional, and in every sense an act of treason to the United States of America. There are individuals in this world, within this country, and within our own government who would like to rule the world, and they believe that this is possible. They have been working towards this goal for decades. Some of the individuals caught up in this endeavor have been our very unelected officials. These power-hungry individuals have corrupted our government and are working to sabotage our freedom by destroying the Constitution of the United States in order to establish the New World Order. To bring about the New World Order and ultimately the single world government, there are several things that has to come about. All forms of government throughout the world must cease to function. Thus the countries would become bankrupt. Because our Constitution is a document that safeguards the sovereignty of our nation, it must be destroyed. Because the genuine threat of the American militia, the American people must be disarmed and become addicted to the government handouts and thus become sheeple. The American people have become so accustomed to their freedom and their constitutional safeguards that affords them that they have paid very little attention to what or could be happening around them. The international establishment has planned this. If they are working to weaken and to erode our freedoms and take control of the United States. Look at the war on drugs. Under the guise of the federal government used to legitimately invoke martial law tactics under the Drug and Crime Emergency Act, while they continue to covertly import these drugs and weapons they claim to be fighting. This guise conveniently effectuates and total disarmament of all weapons, using public and private, are mandated by the United Nations. They want all the guns. Without the complicity of the federal government, crime of this magnitude could not exist. These executive orders and other treasonous acts established on the basis for Federal Emergency Management Association, FEMA, has the power to completely rule over the American people. At any time the President should decide to declare martial law. If this should ever happen, the Director of FEMA, an unelected official, has the authority to enact all executive orders giving him full dictatorial control over the United States and its resources and its people. Martial law suspends all prior or existing laws, functions, systems, and programs of civil government and replaces them with a military system. This system includes the courts, the mail, sanitation, aviation, firefighting, police, agriculture, health, education, and welfare. The American people and all their belongings become chattel to the FEMA and the United Nations peacekeeping forces, who will be in absolute control of the country. Sounds a bit preposterous? Well, there have been individuals who feel so secure that they are doing to gain this control, they have set themselves up above the law and perverted the nature of the law into new laws to protect their conspiracy. Laws that are made in secrecy are a threat to each of us. I'm going to put some of these executive orders down here so you can see. Many of you, you've heard of it, maybe some of you haven't seen. Seizure of all communication media in the United States. Well, they can have it. It doesn't do us any good. It's all fake now. Seizure of all electric power, fuels, minerals, both public and private. Seizure of all food supplies and resources, public and private, all farms and farm equipment. Seizure of all means of transportation, including personal cars, vehicles, trucks of any kind, and total control over highways, seaports, waterways. Seizure of all American people for a workforce under federal supervision, including splitting up of families if the government has to. Seizure of all health, education, welfare facilities, both public and private. Empower the Postmaster General to register all men, women, and children in the United States. Seizure of all airports and aircraft. Seizure of all housing and financial authorities to establish forced relocation, designate area to be abandoned as unsafe, establish new locations for population relocation of communities, build new housing with public funds. Go ahead, go up here, people. Sorry. Seizure of all railroads, inland waterways, storage facility, both public and private. Provides the Office of Emergency Planning complete authorization to put the above orders into effect at all times of increased international tension or economic or financial crisis. Signed by Bill Clinton, June 3rd, 1994, encompasses all the above executive orders. Now, he's not the first one to sign it. He's not. I don't know how, I'm already, into 8 minutes of this? And I only have like 15. The people, in 1983, a secret briefing was held for the House Subcommittee. The purpose to outline in general terms the plans which the federal government would cope with large-scale national emergencies. The phrase national emergency has no precise legal meaning. There is no specific constitutional authority given to the President regarding the declaration of national security. It's through custom, not law, that the President has been given wide latitude in deciding whether or not a given crisis meets that criteria. Well, here's the thing, people, and I don't want to shake anybody up, but nobody but the people of the United States themselves can suspend the Constitution. Now, if you remember Abe Lincoln getting shot, Abe Lincoln got shot because he suspended the Constitution of the United States. And these people who are in power right now are going to get the same treatment. The Federal Emergency Management Agency was created in 1979 by President Carter to consolidate the peacetime emergency planning activities of 26 federal agencies, including the Department of Defense. Major portion of FEMA's activity involves the coordination of federal, state, local agencies during natural or man-made disasters. You know, if they do any of this stuff, they could, and they can get any real estate or personal property for national defense purposes. The provision, in essence, gives the government unlimited authority to take anything from anybody during an emergency. It could, for example, be used to confiscate all legally owned and registered firearms. Such an action would be made all the easier, of course, since the names and addresses of all legal gun owners are already on file. I'm telling you, people, I won't make this too long because it takes forever to upload this. I want you to know this stuff is out there. Oh, I should have done something else. Let's get something straight here. I told you when I found this stuff it was 1993. Now I better show you why. Okay. Okay. American Survival Guide, January 1993. Yep. The Defense Resource Act, despite its sounding title, the Defense Resource Act was in actuality the framework that the government would use to suspend the Constitution and impose martial law during emergency situations. Martial law is a dismemberment of a democratic right more severe than any previous written, if either. Okay, they can suspend the Constitution, replace it by the replacement of elected officials by military commanders. Now what they're trying to do is, through the color of law, take over the United States. And they keep forgetting. The Constitution is the supreme law of the land. Only the people can say, we don't want it anymore, we're going to change it. You can't have somebody come in, well, we got this emergency, that emergency, it's got to be done. It's got to be done for the welfare of the people. What about the poor little children? Oh, always in the name of the children. Trust nobody. Not in government. You've seen what happens. Anyway, that's part of it, people. That's part. What's this? Ew. Oh. President Clinton for continuing to push for legislation making it a crime to engage in so-called hate speech, whatever that is exactly. The First Amendment guarantees free speech, like it or not, gives us the right to say insulting and spiteful things about each other, and there are already criminal laws on the books to deal with anyone who would turn words into action. But now Clinton would chip away at the very cornerstone of our Constitution for the sake of political correctness. Shades of 1984 and the thought police. Remember, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. It was important for you people to know about these national emergencies, and it's not nothing new. But when I passed this stuff out, people just weren't interested. And the thing was, it'd never happen here. It could never happen here. Thanks for watching.